Congratulations being down at KU for you. What kind of confidence does that give the team winning on the road like that?
Well, Purdue socked it to us a little bit. We learned some things on that. I think the loss was good for us because I thought Purdue really manhandled us in the first two games, and we showed some bounce back, which was better than the week before against USC. I thought we played clean ball against Belmont, and then obviously the KU match was such a great atmosphere, and I thought we won the serve and pass game, and that was probably why we were able to be successful. So lots of good things from it, lots of things to continue to improve on. And, again, it's one match, but it does give us good momentum, and it builds our resume.
I was going to say, how about, this weekend again, you never seem to be able to take a breath and relax at all during the preseason.
Yeah.
When you look at two more ranked teams, what are the expectations for this tournament?
Well, for those of us that are old, we remember the whole Missouri Valley days. So, Wichita State, still carries weight with us, and their coach has been there. He's been at Wichita even longer than I've been here. So, we're friends, and, it'll be a good competition. Wichita beat us last year. They run lots of different patterns. They have lots of different people. And then their home court is, it's quite an atmosphere there too. So that'll be a battle. And then Iowa State's really playing well, undefeated so far, led by an Omaha kid, so we will have our hands full. The question is whether we can sustain high-level play for 2 days in a row, and that'll be the challenge.
Do you, I was asking Brittany a little bit about it. In the past, it seems like you get through non-conference, you're kind of not hoping to be 500, but you're like, okay, if we split with ranked teams, we feel pretty good about things. It just seems different, this year. I don't know if it's, the confidence from last season or what, but it seems like you go in expecting to win both of these matchups now, where in the past maybe that wasn't the case. Do you get a sense of that, and have you helped, kind of change that mentality at all, or does that just happen on its own?
Well, I think it's been a progression. I think a lot of sport is mental. So having that belief that you're going to win when you walk on the court is really powerful. And I think we have gotten to that point. I think, I think there's a lot of reasons we've continued to develop higher level talent. They've had success. We've got confident kids that have, nice. I think, and where was I of why this is happening? Anyway, I think last year obviously helped. I think they were there last year to some degree that, we have some winners, and we didn't develop that. They were winners in high school, and we try to recruit kids that have been successful, because I think you can develop winning, but a winner's a winner, and then you'll see kids in club that you're like, gosh, that's a really good player, but they seem to choke a lot, and that's hard to develop. So you try to identify those things in the recruiting process.
Jaali had a big weekend. How much has she stepped up her game maybe this season?
I think Jaali's, again, carrying so much load for us, because I think people pay attention to the offense, but Jaali's passing has been really, really good. She passed incredible again this weekend, and a lot of teams target her. They try to wear her down. And then what she's doing offensively, defensively, her blocking's really improved. But the other thing is, when you talk about winners, Jaali Winters is at the top of the list. She, at end game, she wants the ball and she's going to go for it. And, unfortunately, a good percent of the time she's successful, but regardless, she's going to go for it. And I've always respected that about her.
Has that confidence always been there, or has it had to develop during her time at Creighton?
Jaali came in really that sort of mentality, and I think she's taught a lot of us a lot of things. I can still remember one of my favorite stories about Jaali is when she was in high school. She sent me a text after a loss that said, I had a swing to win the game for us and I didn't put the ball down, and that's my job. Well, 99 out of 100 recruits would never tell their incoming coach that they missed a swing. She was very confident to say, I missed the swing and I gotta be better. And at that point, I was like, okay, I love this kid. Like, I love that she was confident enough to say, I didn't do well and I need to do better.
How did you frame up the gauntlet of the non-conference schedule with your team? Like, what did you tell them to expect, how to handle it, if anything, going into it?
It's kind of the same, we've done this for quite a while. So it's the expectation, it's what we recruit upon. And they love it, and I think we try to make sure that they understand that we're going to try to get better. We're going to try to win some matches. We educate them on how the resume works and how, our goals of making the tournament, hosting, all those things. So they're fully knowledgeable about that stuff. And then it's go time. And I think as competitors, they thrive on it.
Do you ever, when it comes to Jaali, do you ever have to tell her, to not be too hard on herself? Is she ever too hard on herself? You're like, hey, we have other hitters. You know, the weight of the world is not on you.
No, because what Jaali's great about is she has the shortest memory. And I say this to my children all the time. The great athletes have the shortest memory, and she truly does. Sometimes you'll say a play that she made or didn't play, and she'll be like, I've forgotten it. And you almost see her reset, and I think it's really, really special. And I think young athletes, you know, can really look to her as someone that understands the mental side in addition to the physical side of the game.
Somebody asked me this. UNO's having their invitational this weekend. Nebraska's playing, UNO's there.
Yep.
And was Creighton ever asked to participate in that invitational or what?
Rose we've had some conversations. You know, she and I had talked about if there was another great tournament next year, if we would be interested, and we said yes. So the short answer is I don't recall. I don't think we got invited to this tournament per se, but I could be wrong on that, Ross, to be honest, because we were committed to this tournament a while ago, so the weekend wasn't available. So the short answer is we've had conversations of potentially trying to play in another top-notch tournament, but we didn't get into any serious conversations about this tournament this weekend here.
Would you welcome an event where all 3 Division I programs in the state would get together to play in?
At our place? Absolutely.
But I mean, wouldn't that be a great showcase for
It
the
would be a
state for
great
volleyball?
showcase. Yeah. I mean, I think my biggest thing when I'm setting up my non-conference schedule is I want to play as many great teams as possible. So, you know, if whatever name they have on their jersey to play great teams, that's a good thing.
That's sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, another solid weekend for you guys. You know, coming off another win at Kansas. What was the environment like there with, you know, the crazy crowd and all that extra motivation from their side?
Yeah, the crowd was awesome, but we feed off of that actually. Like when we go away, we love the crowds. Like that's what gets us excited. We love playing in front of big fans. So just that environment, especially being against Kansas, it was awesome to be playing in.
And now you got a couple more ranked teams, as you know, usual. It seems like for the non-conference schedule. Another road, you know, trip.
Yeah.
What do you expect out of this weekend coming up?
I think that we're going to do the same thing we did this last weekend. We kind of focus on our side of the net more than we did the other side of the net. So even though they're top teams and it's going to be a hard weekend, we're just going to have to focus on ourselves and then play the way we do.
What areas are you looking at to
Yeah.
improve? I mean, you guys have won. You've beaten some really good teams, so
Yeah.
but there are still things to work
Yeah,
on. What are some
I
things
think
to work on?
it's just like the little things. We have to go down to look at what we made errors on, especially against Purdue this weekend, like what's on our side of the net. So I think it comes down to this week in practice is those little things and just fine-tuning those.
How did you get? I don't know. Maybe Coach framed it up in a certain way. I don't know. Like, what was the expectation going into this non-conference season? How did you sort of approach knowing that every weekend you guys are going to be tested on a night, game-to-game basis, basically?
I think going into it, we knew it was going to be hard, so we knew we had to give it our best. And whether we got the win or the loss in the long run, we're just going to learn from it. So I think going into it, we knew that we just kind of had to try our hardest. But if things went bad, we can learn from it, and we had all season to kind of improve that.
Do you feel different, you know, as a team, or does it feel different as a team now? Or in past years, do you go through these schedules and you're trying to, you know, hope to be 500 with some ranked wins, you know, and this year, you know, you're coming through this where you're going in expecting to beat every ranked team, and it just seems like kind of a different tone. I mean, do you guys sense that as a group?
I think we definitely has changed over at least my last 2 seasons. Like last year, we would go in like, oh, we hope we can beat this team, but now we kind of go in like, we can beat this team, let's do it. So it's definitely a different attitude. We know that we can and have the ability to, compared to last year, would be like, oh, we hope we can.
Jaali's coming off a good weekend. I mean, do you notice that maybe in bigger matches she gets more fired up, or do you notice her more locked in the bigger the opponent at all?
I think sometimes, yes. Not really. She always works hard and does amazing, but I think when it comes down to crunch time, she's definitely someone that we can rely on to play her best no matter what.
Your first match of your career was against Wichita. You're up 0-2. Didn't go your way. What do you remember about what went wrong in that match?
I was talking about this actually the other day. I don't really remember the first tournament of last year. I just kind of remember the win and loss. But I think just going into it, we know that Wichita State's a scrappy team, so we know that we're going to have to go out and play our best no matter what.
Does anyone talk about the rivalry that used to be?
Yeah, Coach talks about it all the time, but most of us on the team weren't there for the rivalry, so we know that it's there, but yeah, we don't.
So when you walk on the court and see 3,000 plus people in the stands, you're gonna be a little surprised.
Yes, I think so. Most of us are going to be, yeah. Thank you.
Another big weekend coming up. Seems like you got 2 ranked teams on the schedule every weekend. What's this pre-conference schedule been like for you guys as a whole so far?
It's been a lot of fun, honestly. I mean, my first 2 years here, we were about 500 at this point in the season, and to be 7-2 right now it's different. It's a weird feeling. It's a good feeling. So, just want to keep on this track that we're going on.
How different is that? Because you talked about it. I mean, it seemed like you go in last year and even years before that, especially trying to maybe split with 2 ranked teams on a weekend, and this time around, you're expecting to win both of them if you've got 2 on the docket. I mean, how much of a change is that for you this year versus maybe your freshman year a couple years ago?
Just the confidence has changed. I mean, our whole team knows that we can beat anyone in the country, and just that mindset is really what's making the difference for us this year.
Jaali, you played that international ball over the summer. Kirsten says you've improved your passing. Just how much have you stepped up your game and in what areas?
Well, like you said, passing was a huge thing for me. It was all during the off season, along with defense, just being able to get more blocks, get more block touches, and just get more range in the back court.
And what's been the best part of your game this season?
I don't know. I'm still trying to work on everything. I know that there's so much I still need to improve on. So I don't know. Kirsten can tell you what she thinks I'm good at, but I'm just thinking about the things I still need to get better at.
Okay.
What's the biggest key to success too? When you're in the back row and teams are serving at you, pretty much every single time, try to take you out of offensive rhythm. How do you get yourself?
You have to want it. You have to want to pass the ball every single time. You want to hope that they're going to serve to you because you have to just have that confidence in yourself that, you're going to get the pass and you're going to do it for your teammates.
Kind of a mind over matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Physically, it's, anyone can pass a good ball, but to do it 20 times in a row, that's where the challenge comes.
How much attention are you getting at the net? I mean, teams are targeting you because they know that you're the big hitter on the team. How much attention are you getting?
You see, Lydia deals with that. Lydia knows where the blockers are. She knows who to set the ball to. I don't really worry about the blockers. I just see what I can see and go after it.
Have you always wanted it to be targeted and work on your passing, or is that something that's just been kind of developed as you've played in college?
I mean, as an outside hitter, they're going to try to attack you because you're also trying to hit at the same time. So, I mean, just growing up, it's something that is going to happen. And I know my freshman year, Kirsten said, hey, you're a freshman, they're going to serve you every time. So just accepting it and dealing with it and making it a positive.
What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like down there on Friday night at Wichita State? You guys are used to playing in Kansas, but how about Wichita State? Because this was a long-time rivalry before you came.
Yes, this is something before my time. I hear about this rivalry that was huge and super competitive. So I'm excited. I know everyone else is super excited, especially the older people who were here for the Missouri Valley days. So I just want to get the win for everybody.
Are you calling Kirsten an older person?
No, I would never call Kirsten an older person. She is, I'm saying that I'm too young, really, is what I'm saying.
Hey, what does it take to bounce when you lose a match to a good opponent? Probably a match that if circumstances were different, you thought, hey, we could win that. What's it take to bounce back from that and just still play good volleyball?
Yeah.
Not just that day, but then the next day.
Yeah, I mean, we had to play after Purdue like 5 hours later, so I just went back to the hotel, took a nap, woke up again and said, hey, another day. Not another day, it was the same day, but
Right.
We just got to keep going. I mean, at the end of the day, it is just a game. As much as we like to hype it up, it is just a game. There's more important things in life than winning, even though we love to win. So just putting it in perspective like that really helps, I'd say.
Did you guys, I mean, I don't know, I was around, but how did you handle losses last year? Especially early season, because you know how important it is. Like, if you don't take care of business now, you may not get to host, and it might be tougher.
I would say now that losses are even more personal to us, just because we know how good we can be, and we know that when we lose, it's usually our own fault. The other team, it's not them putting pressure on us, it's us making our own dumb errors. So it's more personal to us. It makes us want to get in the gym and work harder.
Kirsten was saying one of your biggest strengths is that you put stuff in the past real quickly. You have a short memory if bad things happen. Has that always been the case? I mean, how have you been so mentally tough throughout your career?
I mean, it's something I've always worked on. Now it's, you do something wrong and you have to forget about it. It's the only way you can be a good volleyball player, I would say, is to just forget about the mistakes and keep playing. I know even now, like, I forget the good plays too sometimes because I just put everything in the back of my mind, stay in the present.
Thanks a lot.